Can you hear me now? Streamlabs is saying it's picking me up. I just unplugged and replugged in my mic to see if it worked. Let's see if that worked. That'd be great. Yes, you can hear me now? Great.
Mic
So
on.
now...
Mic feedback on.
And now I'm sure you guys heard that as well, probably. Good, you can hear. I'm going to re-say everything I just said, because my life is a nightmare. I guess I just had to... Sometimes you just got to unplug it, replug it in. Anyway... The first two online regionals happened over the last 2 days. There was the Carta Magica and the PPG. Carta Magica on Saturday, PPG on Sunday. We're going to go over the top 16 lists from Carta, then the top 16 lists from PPG. We're also going to go over, as you can see on the screen right now, the deck statistics for each of those two events. We're only going to go over the statistics for the whole event, not the top 16, because I don't want to give away what decks made top 16 before you actually see the lists themselves, because there's some upsets, there's some big surprises in them, and we will get into that as we do. We're basically gonna go over each list individually, talk about my picks at the end of the day, see what I did like, what I don't like, where I think the metagame is going moving forward, because these are the first two events, and while they are certainly meta-defining, metas always get shaken up as we go along. So, let's dive right in. This is the statistics for the Carta Magica event. We got 123 Zoro, 121 Kinemon, 67 Newgate, 43 Smoker, 33 Law, and 114 Other. It surprises me to see them list 114 Other. I would have liked to see more deck breakdown there. At the point it's 114. Maybe we do have a lot of leaders. Maybe it truly just wasn't enough of any one leader to warrant giving us numbers, but I'd rather see numbers of anything that's over, like, say, 10 players. And I have to imagine there were more. I mean, there's no Zephyr here. I bet there were a lot of Zephyrs. I mean, I don't know about a lot, but I played against the Zephyr. So, I mean, I bet there were a fair amount of Zephyrs. I don't know what else there might have been. Like, Ivankov isn't on here. I'm curious how many Ivankovs there were. Something I also would really like to see people do, tournament providers do, is they are listing Whitebeard. But Whitebeard has two completely different meta builds, right? Where it's got Stagebeard and Strawbeard. Now, as you'll see here, one of those two builds outperformed the other astronomically, right? But they're still very different. And I would have been really interested to see the statistic break up between the two. But I do have a friend, K-Codes, who's working on gathering more statistics on the event. That's his whole big thing. He loves to do big statistical analysis. So I'm looking forward to see what numbers he comes up with. Let's dive into the first place list for Carta Magica's event, which was Roronoa Zoro. I'm not terribly surprised to see Zoro take first. It was kind of the deck to beat in Set 2 in Japan. It seemed to be dying down towards the end of the Set 2 meta. Not becoming irrelevant or anything, just it was completely amazing, best deck in the game, nothing could touch it, and it seemed to kind of fall off that pedestal. So I'm not necessarily surprised to see it in first. I'm more surprised to see it be such a high quality of people, but people love Zoro, people love Red Rush. It's just what the majority of people are going to go to, right? So let's take a look at this list. This is a pretty standard one-drop beater Zoro list where you're using your cheap Sunnies, your cheap Gordons, your cheap Namis as beaters by pumping them with Makino and Magra coupled with Zoro effect. You've got Dodon to search them all out. Some important things of note are Robin. It's not uncommon for Zoros to run Robin lists, but they were, towards the end of the Set 2 meta in Japan, you saw a lot of lists that were just not running Robin at all. They were cutting it out slowly and steadily in favor of other cards. I think a big thing that's leading our meta into Robin, having Robin in your Zoro list, is how much more Zoro we have. Like, we have so much Zoro that Robin becomes very necessary, because you kill basically everything. And Zoro mirrors can really come down to sticking Robin sometimes. It's also helpful into the Odin matchup where they play oftentimes like 10 to 12 blockers. Like, I play 12 blockers in my Odin deck. I've got 4 Beige, I've got 4 Toki, I've got 4 Killer. I bet that won't be that uncommon. And they're Bonnies and Momos. So Robin's still a very good card. I think the biggest drawback for this heavy Robin Vista engine is you're way worse into your Whitebeard matchup where these cards just do nothing for you. But you don't necessarily struggle into Whitebeard as it is. You don't beat Whitebeard, but you don't lose to Whitebeard either. So if you're just good, competent with your deck, you're outplaying it. a big thing to bring up here is there's no Diablo Jambe, but there are 2 5-drop Luffys. That is how you deal with Whitebeard, because they are going to sit on their Marcos, or maybe Chopper and Bart, depending on the list. They're going to keep those blockers up at 0 life, and you need a way to just punch them in the face. The thing about Luffy that's interesting is if you play Luffy and just attach 5 onto him and swing 11k, you're probably not going to win. What you'll see most people do is they'll play a Luffy and not attack with it, and try and hope your opponent can't remove it with a Squad Vista combo, an Ace Sequake combo, something along those lines, so that you can win on the following turn. And that's why I've been seeing a lot of people favor Jambe. Well, excuse me, in my area, right, in my locals, a lot of people are favoring Jambe. I'm a much bigger fan of the 5-drop Luffy. In fact, in my current Zoro list that I ran at locals this past weekend, I also had 2 5-drop Luffy. This list is actually extraordinarily similar to the Zoro list that I had working on going into the event, so that's good to see. But mostly just a traditional Zoro list. Only 3 Whitebeard. I think that's fine. 4 can be very clunky. And honestly, most games I find in Zoro, you're going to end before you even have the chance to play Whitebeard. He's kind of just a backup plan. So congrats to Justin on your first place with Zoro. Second place, we've got Strawbeard. So here's the big surprise to me personally. Maybe a lot of other people saw this coming. I know I didn't. I know most of my crew did not. But we were all expecting Stagebeard to be the Whitebeard deck of choice. I myself played Stagebeard in the event. And Strawbeard ended up in both events coming out way on top over Stagebeard. I want to take a moment before we get into this list to talk about why I think that is. From what I hear, I've heard that Strawbeard has a better matchup into Stagebeard. Now, I play Stagebeard. I don't lose Whitebeard Mirror. That's not a thing. I'm so confident in Whitebeard Mirror. But there's a degree of how good are the players I'm testing against. Because, you know, I play online on the sim and such. I do that a lot. And that's not necessarily the best testing in the world. I don't know if I've ever sat down and played against a Strawbeard main who's really competent with the matchup. And I've heard from a lot of Strawbeard mains. I've heard from a few of my friends. Anthony has told me this. The people in Japan say this. Strawbeard is better into the mirror match than Stagebeard. So I'm going to have to take them at their word for it. And I think that could be really playing in. Another thing about Strawbeard is it's way better into the Kinemon matchup. That's the biggest thing right there. Is Kinemon is, if you're playing Stagebeard, Kinemon is your hardest matchup, period. Hands down, in my opinion. I beat everything else on a very positive win rate. Kinemon is very Luxacky. They have the materials to tap down your Marco and then double swing with Odin. It really, 9 out of 10 Kinemon matchups come down to who went first? Did you see Odin? Did I have a way to remove Odin? Every once in a while, or excuse me, I said who went first, but you know, who went second, because you want to go second as either Kinemon or Stagebeard or Strawbeard. But when you're playing Kinemon versus Stagebeard, it really comes down to those 3 factors. Who went second? Did they see Odin? Did you kill Odin? 9 times out of 10, if they went second and saw Odin and you couldn't kill it, you're going to lose. Period. It's just the way of the world. 8 times out of 10, if they don't see Odin or you can kill the Odin, you can win. And that's what I really don't like about Stagebeard moving forward in that matchup is Kinemon is such a relevant deck. If we were to go back to the statistics on this card, I mean 121 Kinemon. I played Stagebeard. I faced 6 of my 9 matches were Kinemon all day. It was miserable. And I think that's really holding Stagebeard back is the fact that it's got this coin flippy matchup that at the end of the day is completely out of your control. When you're in a 9-round event, if Kinemon is going to be that relevant, you are going to lose to some Kinemon players, period. And there's just not much you can do about it. And I think that is really holding Stagebeard back. And because of this very sad occurrence, I'm going to be shifting my focus when recommending decks to players away from Stagebeard and towards Strawbeard. I still think Stagebeard is absolutely phenomenal. I think it's an incredibly powerful deck. It wins so many games. It can be really hard to deal with. It is so good in set 3 it's been banned, right? But I think in this meta, it doesn't have enough power. It just doesn't hold up. Now that we've gotten that long rant about Stagebeard versus Strawbeard out of the way, let's focus on Strawbeard because Strawbeard is very clearly a much more meta-defining deck. Does Kinemon have any decks that counter it? I don't know if I would say Kinemon has any decks that counter it, right? Like, actually, Anthony is a Kinemon man at the moment, and he says Law. He cannot answer Law decks to save his life with Kinemon. Now, that might be a personal issue. I have not played that matchup at all, not once. I don't play a lot of Kinemon. I don't play a ton of Law. I'm actually about to start focusing on Law, so maybe I can get back to you. But he is not the only Kinemon player I've heard that from. Kinemon can really struggle against Law. And so that's what I've heard. Law is not exactly at the front of the meta. It's a very meta-relevant deck, but it is not the deck to beat. So, I mean, that's one of the things that makes Kinemon so strong, is it doesn't really have a true counter. Its one true counter is relevant, but it's not, like, the deck. So, yeah. But that's the only counter I would say that Kinemon has in set 2. Because it does fine into Smoker, does fine into Z, does fine into the Beards, does fine into... It's not as good into Strawbeard as it is Stage Beard, but I don't know if I'd say it's a counter. It does fine into Zoro if you play it and you build it right. Zoro certainly can be Kinemon. Like, I think Zoro's probably the best deck in the format, but I don't think, other than Law, Kinemon has no true counters. So let's talk about Strawbeard. Something really interesting about this Strawbeard list is the Makinos. So I don't know if it's that it's just the 2K counter of choice, right? That he chooses to run. The only card you could pump with Makino is Nami. It might be just about making these Namis not useless on your board. But it feels really weird in a Whitebeard deck to be pumping with Nami. It could be like an end-of-game ploy. I don't know how common that is in Strawbeard. We're going to see a lot of Strawbeard lists, so we're going to see how it goes forward. But the Makino is something that really sticks out to me. 2 Sanji, 2 Brook. I think this is completely fine. They're realistically, these cards are almost exclusively 2K counters that can be searched off Nami. You don't play them very often. The 3-drop Luffy is a 2K counter you could play more often, but it's not super common. 2 Vista, 3 Robin. It's very interesting to see Vista have less presence than Robin in this deck from our experience with other red decks, but I think because it's not Zoro and the Vista is harder to make a viable attacker, it is a logical choice to have Robin be higher on your priority. Of course, the backbone of your Strawbeard decks is your 4 of each 4-drop 6Ks. This guy also has an incredible top end with 4 5-drop Luffy, 3 7-drop Ace, 4 9-drop Whitebeard. I find Strawbeard decks to play extremely similar to Mono Red Luffy from set 1. It's actually very similar to how way back when set 2 was getting revealed, before we saw any meta stuff in Japan, before that was even a thing. This is very similar to how I thought Whitebeard was going to be played. I just couldn't make it work. I was too focused on you may be a fool and like preserving life. This is just very tempo. You go second, you play a Luffy. Next turn, you play a Luffy. Next turn, you play like a Luffy and a Frankie. You know, you boom, boom, boom. You have these huge, massive bodies that they can struggle to deal with sometimes. Strawbeards also tend to play a little bit more defensively, which is one of the reasons they're better into Kinemon. They don't want to just rocket themselves down to 0 life like a Stagebeard does. They will often counter out of early swings so that the game can't be cheesed away from them before they're ready to go for the win. I think the weirdest thing about this list to me is 4 Radical Wing, 2 Guard Point. Maybe that's just standard in Strawbeard. I would really want 8 counter events, but he also runs he runs 12 2K, he runs 16 2K counters, so it kind of justifies the 2 Guard Point, right? Because he doesn't need that much defense. Let's take a look at the 3rd place list. Here's the first Kinemon for the Carta. Let's see. So, like we were talking about earlier, this list is actually very surprising. There's a lot to talk about here. So first of all, no Toki is an interesting choice because you usually see them stack up on blockers. 2 Neko. A lot of Kinemon lists aren't running Neko anymore. I like Neko, but it's just interesting to see. We're also seeing he runs a Pooh, but he doesn't run Bonnie. It's pretty common to see Bonnie in your Kinemon list. There's a lot of viable targets. You can grab your Apus, you can grab your Killers and your Beiges. So, like, Momo can't grab any blockers in his deck, which is really weird. Or just surprising, I guess I should say. You can grab your 5-drop Laws, your 8-drop Kids, your Punk Gibsons. Punk Gibson is a really important card in the Kinemon deck because of how it answers Marco and White with Stagebeard. But also just in general, Punk Gibson is an amazing card in Kinemon. Punk Gibson, I think, is better in Kinemon than it was in Kid. I like the 2 Neko and the 2 Killer because we're seeing Zoro so fucking heavily, right? So, like, these early cards to deal with the Zoro matchup, I really like. 3 Yamato, I've been saying it since Kinemon dropped. For some reason, tons of people weren't running Yamato. That's a huge mistake. Yamato is a great answer to both Whitebeard because they need to answer it, and to Zoro because they cannot afford to lose 2 cards like that, and they struggle to defend hits that early in the game. So I love the 3 Yamato. 4 Raizo is kind of surprising to me. I imagine it's just a backup to Okiku. 4 Raizo is a little less surprising, though, because he can hide it behind the 8-cost Kid. Because he's running 8-cost instead of 7-cost Kid to kind of deal with Zoro, potentially, is my thought process. You can hide Raizo behind the 8-cost Kid to continue to generate advantage. This list takes more inspiration from set 1 Kid than I think most Kinemon lists do. 4 Odin's completely correct. 4 Okiku, 4 Yamato are necessary. I like the 2 Law. I'm not crazy about the 1 of Paradise Waterfall here. I really only personally like Paradise Waterfall if you're running enough blockers to make use of it. So the fact that these are 8-cost kids instead of 7-cost kids makes me not as big a fan of Paradise Waterfall, but it can still be used to protect your Okikus, protect your Yamatos, both of them, to restand them when they're being swung into. So I can definitely understand the card choice. But a very cool Kinemon list, definitely off the beaten path in my opinion. And congrats to Andy Pat for bringing some diversity to Kinemon. And third place. Fourth place, we got another Strawbeard. So 2 Strawbeards in top 4. Here we are again with more Makinos. So I imagine that this is just the 2k counter choice that can pump Nami to a lethal attacker if you need it to. It is still surprising to me, but I don't play a ton of Strawbeards. So this list opts for a few less 2k counters, but it has the same amount of 2k counters. Excuse me. It's still got the 16, but no guard point. So it's these lists are really just relying heavily on these 2k counters. For Vista, no Robin. See, that's what I would more be expecting. It's a much better answer to Zoro. You can still swing into those little beaters. This is more my normal type of thing. Of course, 4 of each of these and 4 5-drop Luffy. 4 Kingdu I really like. 5-drop 7k beaters. I've been a huge fan of them ever since set 1. That's just a massive powerhouse to get over. 2 Ace, I think that's completely fine. Ace I think is a kind of mediocre card. Like, it's strong, but it can be really clunky at times, and with no Marco to discard it in these lists. Because the thing about Strawbeard is that it's harder to discard your dead, right? Because if you get flooded with these cards, you can just lose from that, which is one of the reasons there are so many 2k counters. 4 9-drop Whitebeard, one of the strongest cards in the game, in my opinion. And 4 Radical Beam. So pretty normal Strawbeard stuff going on here. I think the most notable stuff is the 4 Vistas and the 4 Kingdus. And congrats to Nicholas Chaker. 5th place, Zephyr. Okay. It's crazy to me that we have a Zephyr in 5th place. I really wish he had made it to top 4, honestly. But top 16 got all the same prizing other than 1st and 2nd. So 5th place is literally nothing. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're top 16, top 8, none of that. But let's take a look at this. I think a big thing about Zephyr is catching people off guard. It's so early in the meta, people are not ready for the Zephyr lists. And if you let them go and you just let them do what they're going to do, they end up dropping this Kuzan, and then turn after turn after turn, you cannot retain board. It can be really hard to win. They get to a point kind of like Set 1 Kaido, where winning just becomes less and less likely. They scale so hard. But being a 4-life leader means dealing with Zoro and such. So how does he answer dealing with Zoro? Well, we only see 3 Kobe instead of 4. That's a little surprising to me. We do have 4 Borsalino, 4 Queen, so there's some good blockage. 4 Ulti as opposed to 4 Jack. I've been seeing a lot of lists use 4 Jack for the counter stat, but if your intent is to just play Ulti as soon as you see it, it doesn't really matter. For those of you that don't know, Zephyr's entire win condition revolves around this Kuzan, so they tend to run these ramp cards to just turbo into that Kuzan. I just usually see it as Jack. We've got 3 Garp here. He doesn't have a ton of cost reduction to make use of this Garp, so I definitely understand only the 3, but it is surprising to see 4 Tashigi 3 Garp. I'd more expect that to be 3 Tashigi 4 Garp, because Garp with cost reduction really can be a great answer to Zoro. He does run Sasuke. I actually kind of like Sasuke as a 2k counter in Zephyr, because this is one of the few decks, like in set 1, this backup ramp sucked. It was actually completely negligible. In set 2, in Zephyr, Sasuke's backup ramp is actually very viable as an option to get you to these Kuzans sooner. 4 of each Admiral. The Admirals are absolutely insane. 2 King, because Zoro is so powerful and King can really, really shift the favor of a Zoro match towards you. And then the Kuzans, 2 Hell's Judgment, 4 Impact Wave. It's just really good defensive event lineup. It's ramp stall into Kuzan and try and win the game from there. I'd be interested to hear how many Zoros he faced, because I think if he dodged a lot of Zoro, this deck could take him far. Zoro is just my biggest fear with this deck. And to be in 5th place, he had to be 8-1, so incredibly impressive. Congrats to Denzel on an awesome showing with Zephyr. 7th? Okay, I don't know why 6th and 7th were out of order. Let's go to 6th place, Anthony Shoeknocker. I should just go with the first names. Anthony. So, this is a more of a, what I would call a traditional Kinemon list, where you've got your Momos and your Bonnies, you've got your Beiges, your Killers, your Tokis. Neko is still, it's a little less common. Maybe it'll be more common moving forward because of how much Zoro was in it, but Neko is really falling off in the Japanese meta. Apus and Izos as your searchable 2k counters. These are the only 2k counters you need. 3 Raizo as a tech. You've got the 4 Okiku, the 4 Yamato. This guy doesn't run the 5-drop Yamato. I really like the 5-drop Yamato for answering Zoro. But X-Drake is also a really good answer to Zoro. That other list did not have X-Drake, which is a little surprising. X-Drake's pretty common. 3 X-Drake, 1 Law is absolutely wonderful. 2 7-drop, 7-drop is really common. 4 Odin. I'd say the biggest surprise about this list is the lack of Punk Gibson. I think Punk Gibson is a complete staple in Kinemon, and it's interesting to see someone play without it. But out for not running Punk Gibson, he favors Nekos, he favors Rhizos. I think that's completely fine. Let's talk about 7th place. This has got to be a Zoro list, although I don't see the leader. These are, I'm sorry if these images are bad. All of the images are just taken from their websites or their Facebook. So immediately, the first thing I notice is this guy doesn't have Sunnies. He's using Komachio. It looks like there's a third over there. He's using Komachio because he doesn't own Sunny-kun, I'd have to imagine. And I want to stress how upset I am that this guy had the potential to play Ducks and didn't. You're already not playing Sunny. You're already playing less optimally. This should have been Karu. Peter, please, in the future, consider Karu instead of Komachio because Ducks for life, and Ducks are absolutely the way to go. Congrats on your 7th place win as well. Uta is interesting. Uta we've been seeing phased out of a lot of Zoro decks, same with Chopper. So the Utas and Choppers are kind of surprising. I'd have to imagine that Chopper helped him a lot in the mirror. I'd be curious to hear how he feels about these Utas because I've been increasingly finding people cut them out of their decks. 2 Red Hawks also to deal with the mirror. This list is clearly a little more set 1 inspired. This is probably a Zoro player from set 1 who's holding on to some traditions like the Utas, the Choppers, the Red Hawks. And I'm not at all saying that's bad. I bet these Red Hawks did him quite well in his games, especially with how much Zoro was present at the tournament. I think the biggest thing I'm interested in is these Utas. I mean, Uta's certainly not a bad card. It's just a little slow for our set 2 Zoro metagame. Congrats to Peter. Let's see, 8th place. Ivankov in top 8. So, this is surprising. It's not... It's surprising, but it's not at all, like... It's not what I expected, but I can super believe that it happened. Ivankov is a really strong deck that can struggle into Zoro and really struggles into Stagebeard. I don't know about Strawbeard. I think that it can also be very flip-floppy, very finicky, but blue tends to be one of those decks that, from set 1 into set 2, it's one of those colors that really rewards people that just stick to it, master it, and really learn the ins and outs. I love this blocker Boa. I was one of the first people to say this blocker Boa is better than the Law blocker in Ivankov because you really need the counter stat. You have enough Dawn to pay 3. If you had it on a life, it can save your life a lot. Let's see. 3 Crocodile, 4 Luffy. You'll often see those numbers switched for the sake of counter stats. I'm a little surprised to see it that way. Personally, I run 4 of each. Also, 1 Doflamingo, 2 Mihawk. This is usually just 3 Mihawk, so that's also a little surprising, but personal tech. Arabesque Brick Fist is really good into the Whitebeard matchup, and I think that's why people have been teching it in. 2 of the stage is really nice. So I think the biggest takeaways from this list are 3 Croc, 4 Luffy, as opposed to 4 and 4, or 4 Croc, 3 Luffy, which both of those are more common. The 1 of Doflamingo tech is very interesting, and the Arabesque Brick Fist tech, I'm sure it's very much to do with Whitebeard. It's also good into Kinemon, but it's very, very, very good into Whitebeard, and I like that a lot. So congrats to Daniel. Very fun very fun Ivankov list you brought us today. 9th place, Thomas Wynn. He's playing Law, so let's take a look at this. I believe he was also present in the Carta Magica Treasure Cup, and I'm pretty sure he got top 8. If I'm remembering my people correctly, I'm pretty sure he got top 8 with the blue-purple Kaido there. Yeah, and you can watch that stream back on Carta to find out more about that. So let's see. Law is pretty cool these days. Only 3 Makino is a little surprising. I feel like 4 is more common. But 3 is completely fine. I think a big thing about this Law list is no 5-drop Luffy probably hurt him. Makes your stage grid matchup much harder. Makes your Kinemon matchup much harder. This untapped Law is absolutely amazing in the new set. I would have really liked to see one of these cut for a 5-drop Luffy. I'm not a huge fan of X-Drake in Law either. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not my preference. I hear it's good into Whitebeard though, so maybe that's the logic. Maybe that's the logic behind it. But these days, Law is all about Curly, Dodon, and Vista, which is really exciting, and the 5-drop Laws are so powerful. You've got a much heavier red bounce, which is why most of your top end becomes green these days. Only 3 Jet Pistol isn't that surprising because you don't need to deal with 8-cost Kid as much anymore, and that was one of the biggest drives for 4 Jet Pistol in the old law lists. 10th place, Brian Basoko. Kinemon once again. So this Kinemon list is really surprising to me. Let's just dive right into it. So 4 Neko, no Toki, right? Once again, no Toki, and no Beige. No Toki, no Beige is really interesting. But 4 Neko, 4 Killer, so he does retain some of the blocker. He also runs Bonnie without running Beige. Now, Bonnie can still grab your Killer and your Apu. He runs 4 of the 5-drop X-Drake for tempo plays, 4 7-drop Kid, 4 Punk Gibson, only 3 Odin. This list is very surprising. I think it's got a much heavier emphasis on tempo than it does specifically the Wano package. You're really just going all out on board control. It's reminiscent of set 1 Kid, even though it doesn't have 8-cost Kid, just in the sense of building this massive defensive wall to get over. I think his logic is multiple 7-drops is really, really good in this current meta. I think one of the bigger problems for him, I was going to say Zoro, but for Neko, I think his early turns are all about just board clearing Zoro. He's playing like set one Kid, where he just didn't attack Zoro. He just let him stay at 5 life until he was ready to pound face. And I think you see a lot of that reminisced in this list. And I like this a lot. It's a very interesting take on Kinemon, a fresh playstyle for a very, I don't want to say non-diverse deck, but a very linear deck. That's what I'll say. 11th place. Congrats to Faye for 11th place. Kinemon once more. See, here we go. 4 Toki, 4 Beige, 3 Killer. I'd probably cut a Toki for a Killer. I'm a little surprised to see that, but whatever works. And then his 4 Momo, 4 Bonnie, heavy blocker lineup. No Neko. 2 7-drop and 2 8-drop is really surprising to me. Usually you see decks lean towards one or the other. Maybe he really 7-drop's good into a lot of things, not great into Zoro. 8-drop's really good into Zoro. So maybe it's really just to have answers to everything. Hawkins, I think, is a wonderful tech. Hawkins is so good into Whitebeard. I run Hawkins in my Kinemon list at the moment. I run 2. And I think that that's just a really powerful tech for you to include. Even at the 1 of, I really enjoy it. I honestly don't care at all that he does not run the blocker law because he has this 1 Hawkins. 3 X-Drake. Paradise Waterfall, I think, is well suited in this deck because he runs the 7-drop Kid and the 2 Punk Gibson. So a lot of fun here. I really think the most notable things are the 4 of the 2 of each Kid and the Hawkins. Smoker in top 16 is really fun. It's a little surprising. I didn't necessarily expect it, but it's not that surprising. Smoker it depends on what he saw all day. One of Smoker's biggest issues is it loses to Whitebeard. There wasn't that much Whitebeard, so if you can dodge that, it does okay into Zoro. It does okay into other meta decks. He's also, there's not a ton to say about this list because it's very traditional. The most notable thing here is Hina. You did not see Hina make it into a lot of decks in the late set 2 meta, but here she is undoubtedly for the Zoro matchup. Stopping the many little swings from coming through and being a 6k blocker. So you build your early wall, you got your removal with your Kobe, your Sakazukis, you got your Meteor Volcanoes to do with Zoro, you hide behind 10-drop Kuzan when you can. Your late game is monstrous. It's similar to Zephyr, except your late game isn't that good, but is it as good as but your early game is better. Smoker is great into the green Menace, but I find it as a weak matchup to Zoro. It is really good into green. I don't necessarily want to say it as a weak matchup in Zoro. It definitely is an unfavorable matchup. So if you're playing Smoker into Zoro, you're not in for a good time. I'd probably say it's 70% Zoro, 30% Smoker when in the hands of competent Smoker. But I guess that really is a weak matchup. So I'm with you. Weak matchup is a very accurate way of describing it. It's just not a counter. You know what I mean? But the thing about Smoker is that it does just really struggle into Whitebeard. Both Strawbeard and Stagebeard run circles around Smoker, which is worrisome. But like we were saying over here, Whitebeard wasn't as relevant as I think a lot of people were expecting it to be. Certainly not as relevant as I was expecting it to be. So here we are, 12. Hina is the most notable part of this list. Other than that, it's fairly traditional. Oh, God. Okay, another Smoker. So here we are right away. The tech that I love about this list is Isaka. I was saying for a long time, way back when, that Isaka is a great tech into Zoro. It's Hawkins, but only if you KO the card, which makes it really, yeah, the picture is wild, which makes it really good at smacking around those early Zoro beaters. And if you can keep your defense up against Zoro, you can easily win the game because your late game is so much better than them. I'm also only 2 Kuzan is a little surprising, but he runs 3 Smoker. You know, you do have to be careful with how much dead you end up playing in your deck. So I like this a lot. I like Isaka as a tech more than I like Hina as a tech. Very cool to see 2 different Smokers make it into the top 16, and congrats to Earl and Orion for making it happen. Here we are with another Law list from Duncan Young. This is your normal standard stuff. The most surprising thing about this list, I would say, is this 4-drop Zoro. I don't really understand it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge fan of this tech. It is searchable off your Nami and your Bonnie, which I have to imagine is the logic. I'd probably still, if I'm going to run a 1 of vanilla, you can run the 5-drop Frankie, which I know is not searchable off Bonnie, but it is searchable off Nami. I'd like to see a 3rd Law here. 3rd of the untap Law. Yeah, see, I'd like to see this Zoro just be another of the untap Law, personally, because the untap Law is really what's pushing Law into the forefront in set 2, in my opinion, much more than in set 1. But other than this one Zoro tech, which could be this untap Law, I don't want to say should. I mean, he got top 14 with it. I'd be really interested to hear how happy he is with the Zoro list. Hello and welcome to the chat. All right, so congrats to Duncan. Let's move on, see what else we can find. 15th place here, we've got a Stagebeard. I somehow missed this Stagebeard get top 15. That's really cool. Let's take a look. 4 Chopper, 1 Rockio is a really interesting tech. Hey, thanks for the sub, Anthony. 1 Rockio is a really interesting tech. I think Rockio doesn't really shine until set 2 when you can use it with the Izos. No 9-drop Whitebeard is not surprising. But other than the 1 Rockio, this is extremely normal. You've got your backup blockers, which a lot of people like. You've got 4 of each of your defensive events. 2 Ace is completely fine. 4 Seaquake. I'm trying to figure out what I run instead of... Oh, I run 2K counters instead of this Chopper. So he just runs blockers instead of Chopper. So it's completely normal stuff. I'd say one of the biggest surprises about this is only 3 Squad. I really think 4 Squad is important. It answers a lot of your matchups, but definitely congrats to Jesse, and thank you for repping Stagebeard to top 15. Let's go. Skyrian, thank you for the sub once again. Maybe for the red-green ratio. Oh, so hold on. That was probably in reference to the Law. Red-green ratio. What does Stagebeard mean? I will explain Stagebeard. So in our current meta, we have 2 different variants of Whitebeard. And the same thing with set 3, I imagine. But in set 3, Stagebeard is the only real one. There's Strawbeard and Stagebeard. So Stagebeard is a list that runs 4 of the Moby Dick stage. And it leverages mostly Whitebeard pirates, in this list exclusively Whitebeard pirates, to get big bodies. Strawbeard does not use the stage. It runs the Straw Hat package. This is Zoro. It runs the Straw Hat package with 4-drop 6Ks beaters, and 5-drop Luffy's with Namis to search out your key cards. Oh, okay, I get it now. It means that you play the stage with Straw cards, yeah. So let's get back. We were in 15th place. Yeah, I really think the only thing this 1 Rockio I feel should be the 4th Squad, but he was trying something out. I'd be really interested to hear. Yeah, no worries, man. I'd be really interested to hear how this Rockio played out for him. I'm gonna hit up Orange and see if he knows anything about it. Because this is awesome to see get top 16 in this meta. I also want to hear how many Kinemons he faced. That's what I gotta know, because I faced fucking 6. That was terrible. And 16th place, Nathan coming in with a Kinemon. This is actually, I lost to this Kinemon player, so screw this guy. I think I should be here. Anyway, congrats to Nathan. He played Kinemon very well. 2 Chopper as a 2K counter? That's a really interesting tech, probably to deal with your Zoro matchup. He just runs more 2K counters than I think most do. He also just runs 2 Paradise Waterfall and no Punk Gibson. That's a little uncommon, but he does have these 7-drop kids to back that up. Only 3 Odin's a little surprising. I'm a big advocate for 4 Odin in Kinemon personally. But I'd really say the biggest surprise is just these 2 Choppers. Other than that, it's fairly traditional Kinemon list. Is it me, or is Kinemon just a bit boring to play? Not saying it's bad. It's good, but it's just a bit boring maybe. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan. It's moderately fun. It feels very linear to me, and that's what I don't like. It's really good. I feel when I play Kinemon, I tend to feel like I'm playing the same game over and over and over again, which I'm not too crazy about. It's just kind of got its one game plan that it sticks to. Your plays can also feel telegraphed. I don't think it's necessarily as hard of a deck. I think Kinemon has a higher floor than the average One Piece deck, but I don't think it has that high of a ceiling because your cards are so powerful. It tends to be pretty easy to go, I just need to play this powerful card. I just need to play this powerful card. I just need to play this powerful card. And there's not as much math involved. Yeah, that's why I don't play him no more. The way you put it makes more sense, though. Yeah, it's just, Kinemon's fine. I'm just not a huge fan personally. All right, and that will wrap it up with the top 16 for Carta Magica. Let's hop over to PPG. Now, PPG did what I wanted Carta to do, where it broke up the other. This is a huge amount of other to leave. So let's take a look at what some of this rogue stuff is. We've got 28% Zoro, 22% Kinemon, 10% Whitebeard, 8% Smoker, 5% Ivankov, Kaido is 5%, Law is 5%. I'm surprised to see Law beat out by so many other decks, honestly. Kid is 3%, Dofi's 2%, Zephyr is 2%, Luffy, Red-Green Luffy, 1.22%, Starter Deck Luffy, 1.22%, and then others. So what's really wild about this is we know that these others means one deck, or like this 1.22% means more than one person played each of these decks. You think Red-Green Luffy is underrated. Do you play it with the film package? Is that what you're on right now? I like Red-Green Luffy. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that a lot of people, that's what I main now and I won 5 logos right now, yes. I think Red-Green Luffy is film. I like Red-Green Luffy film. Underrated, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. And the reason I'm inclined to agree with you is because I think people shit on it. And that I think is wrong. I don't think it's like the meta, right? Like let's be realistic here. It's not Zoro, it's not Kinemon, it's not Whitebeard, right? It's a fun, good deck that can be played competently, and it doesn't deserve the hate it gets. So I agree with underrated specifically because people just straight dunk on the deck, and it doesn't deserve that. I will say, though, I don't want that to be misread as, oh, I think, yeah, it's not meta, but it's not bad, exactly. Do you think Whitey Bay is highly underrated seeing all these in Zoro? Not a ton. I'm not a big fan of Whitey Bay. I think it's an interesting tech. I don't think... The thing about Zoro is it doesn't usually want to clear board. If it does, it runs Jet Pistol. Whitey Bay is slow. You need to play it before you know there's a card to be removed because you can't give it Rush. At least not until set 4. You heard it here first. The secret VV spices run Whitey Bay. Almost every 4-life leader is underrated to some extent. Maybe. Garp's not underrated. I hate Garp. Fuck that leader. Who else is there? Who are the... I don't know. Maybe you're right, Skirian. For me, the most underrated decks are Red Green Luffy and Black Red Garp. Oh, shit. Yeah, rip. Garp is tier 1. Oh, well. I'm not a big fan of Garp. I'm not a big fan of Garp at all. Let me tell you... We're gonna... Okay, hold on. We're gonna finish with Whitey Bay conversation, and then I'm gonna go on a rant about Garp. Whitey Bay... I don't think it's underrated. I think it's an interesting spice tech. I do not think it is the staple choice. If it is your playstyle, that's completely fine. It is a great tech, but that's completely up to you. Now let's talk about Garp. Black is all about, the entire colors theme is about the cost of cards. It is about cost reduction and then killing cards based on their cost. My camera's a little high here. Let me lower this. It is about cost reduction and then killing cards based on cost, right? Let's look at every other color in a vacuum. Purple. Purple is kind of a jack of all trades color, right? It does some resting, it does some KOing, but in the meta, you focus... I don't see much people playing him. There's a reason for that. It's because he's not that strong, in my opinion. And he's also not that fun. And I think the core problem with Garp is about his color combination. Because purple it's a jack of all trades, but what we focus on with purple is destruction based on cost. You run your kings, you run your Kaidos, right? You run your who's. And that's why black purple works so well, is they both are destruction based on cost, and then they reduce the cost, and they flow together extremely well for that reason. Blue is about bouncing and bottom decking. Both of those are based on cost. 9-drop Mihawk, you bottom deck based on cost. 4-drop Jinbei, you bottom deck based on cost. 7-drop Dofi, you bounce based on cost. Sables, you bounce based on cost. Airbest Spirit Phase. All these things are based on cost, right? Green, it's all about resting and KOing rested cards. All of these effects are based on cost, right? You've got your X-Drakes, you've got your killers, you've got your Nekomamushis, you've got your Yamatos. Every color in this game is based on cost-based effects, which means black works with every color in the game, except red. Red is the only deck in the game that uses its effects based on power instead of cost. Every other color is based on cost. Garp is a flawed color combination because black and red naturally do not synergize. They have zero synergy. The Garp, I'm tuning out this Garp ramp tier 1. That's fine, tune it out, it's almost done. The Garp leader attempts to combine the two with a synergistic effect with attaching Rested Dawn, and it does not do it to success. If you're going to take two colors that are intrinsically in opposition, you need a strong enough effect to merge them together, and that's not what we see out of Garp. And that's why I don't like Garp. I think that's why most people don't like Garp, is color combinations naturally flow together. All of them just seem, they click in your brain. It's like red-green, that makes sense. Red-green supernovas? Hell yeah. Yeah, obviously. Blue-purple events, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah, of course, right? Blue-purple ramp? Totally, sure. Black-red? It just doesn't fit. It doesn't make any sense. And that is the problem with Garp. Let's talk about the first place PPG. Quan Lee, congrats with your first place for running Kinemon. I like this list a lot. So this is what a Kinemon list looks like in my head, almost exactly. Raizo's an interesting tech. I'm not all over it. The biggest thing here is I don't like the lack of 5-drop Yamato. But I feel like Garp is red-black is purely for the 4 life, because if he is pure black, he'll be too OP with that 5 life. Well, he's red-black because his effect also utilizes the red concept of attaching Dawn. In your humble opinion, Garp is a mostly black control deck that can use some red cards. That's where most people fail in building him. I agree. As a matter of fact, the few Garp lists you saw top in set 2 were mostly black decks that splashed red in for like really powerful red cards such as Jet Pistol or Rush Luffy or Rush Zoro, like a handful, like a few, you know? Kind of like Black Yellow Big Mom in set 3 is a yellow deck that runs a few really strong black cards. I can get behind that, Skirian. It's just that black in set 2 is not strong enough to support that type of deck. That's the problem. Because black is not an incredibly strong color in set 2. It did not have that great of an initial showing. It's not weak. I don't think I'd call it the weakest color in the game. I think I'd say that's blue. Still. No, I'd say that's purple. I super just lied. I would say that's purple probably, based on statistical evidence. I'd say it's purple. That actually makes sense, yeah. So that's how I would build Garp if you were going to. But even still, you could do the same thing with Zephyr. Like, Garp doesn't bring anything fresh to the table. Yeah, all these multicolor leaders minus Garp are just waiting for a deeper pool, but for now 5-life leaders dominate. I can definitely get that, because like, look at Law. It just retains its power all the way through. I'm really excited for the can't attack 5-life leaders in set 4. Yeah, minus Law. Yeah, exactly. Law is the one. Let's get back to what this stream is about, which is talking about this list. I want to see 5-drop Yamato in here. I know that's a personal thing. I like Raizo. 1 Paradise, 1 Punk. I'd rather see this be 2 Punk, but that's me. Other than that, this is an extremely traditional Kinemon list. Like, this is sweet. I love this list. Quan Lee just went with the ropes, mastered his deck, and won with it. And I like that a lot. Congrats to him. Second place, Jackson with Law. So we've been seeing a lot of Law. It has almost no variance. Here's a few Makino. Here's the Searchers. This one Gordon. Here's some variance. One Gordon. Let's see. Gordon eggs power by 3,000. Gordon, it's to run Gordon Vista combo, Gordon Jet Pistol combo. I can get behind that. It can be searched off to Dawn. It doesn't have a counter stat. He runs 1 less Makino for it. It's kind of whatever. Interesting spice tech. I'd be interested to hear how well it worked out for him. Jackson has won the most Serial Luffy. This is his 3rd Serial Luffy he won. That's very impressive. So I'd be really interested to hear. That's awesome. I'd be really interested to talk to this guy sometime. So if Jackson, if you ever watch this, you can reach out to me any time of the week, man. I'd love to pick your brain. I'd love to pick your brain. And congratulations, you're clearly an excellent player. I love Law. I love this deck. I think it's absolutely fun, fucking wonderful. He won Deck Limited Battle, Treasure Cup in Vegas, and now Regionals. Wow. Well, listen, I'm not going to discredit him, but I only care about the second two. Fuck the Deck Limited Battles. He still must be an excellent player. You need to be a good player to win Deck Limited Battles, but you also need to be a lucky player to win Deck Limited Battles. So congrats for the win. He is clearly a good player if this is his third. I hated Deck Limited Battles. I'm so glad that format is over. I never want to return to it. I would play set 1 with someone right now. I would not do Deck Limited Battles ever. But 3 Serial Luffy speaks for itself. Fucking thousands of dollars right there. What the fuck is Deck Limited Battle, as I only know Treasure Cup and Regionals? When the game was first coming out in the English version, the global version, I think is what they call it. But the English version, the pre-release only gave us starter decks. It did not give, and promo packs. Gave us starter decks in our first set of promo packs. It did not give us set 1. And there was an official One Piece event where you could use starter deck cards and the promos, but really mostly starter deck cards, unless you were playing Luffy, which you shouldn't have been. The starter deck cards, and they had these big events and gave out big prizing to top 16. But because they were literally starter deck matches, a lot of it came down to luck. And that is Deck Limited Battles. History of the One Piece card game. Okay, moving on. Another Kinemon. It is boring. It was terrible. It was just all we had. Because we were waiting months for set 1 to come out. Because the pre-release happened in September. And the DLB thing, then the set came out in December. So it's all we had for a few months. It is an awful format. No, I don't think anyone remembers it fondly. Except for the Chads, who won the DLB, I guess. Who got Serial Luffy's. 2 Neko to answer the Zoros. 1 Yamato. I wish this was 2, but whatever. 3 X-Drake. I think that could be 2. That's fine. 1 8-drop kid. I'd like to see this 8-drop kid be an Odin, but I don't know if it helps him enough. I like this list. It's another very traditional. This is a very basic Kinemon list. Congrats on 3rd place. I don't know why your picture isn't timestamped, but whatever. I will. Okay, as a fair warning, I'm going to keep moving on. But PPG, I did a really bad job with formatting the decks for after the event. Carta Magica, you had to submit a picture with a timestamp, and you had to submit an OPTCG, a One Piece Card Game.dev file link with your deck, and that's why all of theirs are so neat with these nice edited things. PPG just posted their decks, and I mean, whatever, guys, right? Like, I don't really care that much, but all these images are straight from them. I'd like to see Hawkins in Kid List, though. I like Hawkins. I run Hawkins. We did see a Hawkins tech. I hope more green players play Hawkins just so I can jet pistol it. I think Hawkins is a really good tech, and Kinemon is a 1 or 2 of, and I strongly suggest it. More Kinemon. Kinemon was really dominant in this one. There's not a ton to report here. I don't like 3 Odin. I wish this was 4 Odin. I'm really surprised to see how many lists have only 3 Odin. Only 2 Killer is surprising. It's actually really surprising because Killer is such a strong card. 2 Raizo. Yeah, everything I could say about this kid list. Congrats, Dylan Hall, on your. I see they don't even have the number of the placements on top 4 with Kinemon. Wow, so top 4 was 3 Kinemons and a Law. Zoro is fucked, I guess. Congrats on your top 4. Your list is very similar to a lot of other lists we've already discussed. Okay, we're gonna take a moment and talk about 5th place Magellan. This is wild. This was 5th place. This guy got a Nats invite with Magellan. And it's weird, too. Like, 4 Douglas Bullet is weird. 3 Douglas Bullet is weird. The 5-drop Magellan's a little weird. No Jack. Everyone's running Jack. Hey, Moonman, how did you guys do this weekend? Anthony and I both went X3. Because we're bad. It's def an aggro deck. Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. Anything that runs Guild Store is an aggro deck. Let's start there. But it doesn't run Jack. That's what's surprising. I played Stagebeard, which worst matchup is Kinemon, and I played against 6 Kinemons of my 9 matches. I beat 4 of them. I lost to 2. I also lost to a Zoro player who top 16'd the Carta Treasure Cup, so no shame in that. One of my other losses top 16'd the regional, so no shame in that. Those were my first 2 losses. I lost in the. It's X3's fine. X3 is good. X3 is good. I'm not trying to diminish ourselves. We were really shooting for top 32. I wanted that finalist, Matt. And we both lost our final matches, and we both lost our final matches in somewhat upsetting ways. Anthony misplayed in his final match. Misplayed bad, and it cost him the game. So he's really tilted about that. I got God-handed. I went up against the Kinemon, who went second, who got Gyro went second. I did not play. I played nothing of relevance until turn 4. And he had the God Hand. He went Okiku, Raizo, Onan Curve. Like, there was nothing I could do. And it was a really sad way to end out the day. And I think that's why he lost to a misplay. I lost to complete and utter luck for our final round specifically. My other matches were good. Every other even the ones I lost were very close, very good. I'm not trying to discredit those. And I'm not trying to discredit the guy who beat me in the finals. He got top 32. Good for him. But it truly was just complete dumb on luck, which sucks. Did you play red and green all day? I played against 6 fucking Kinemons, 1 Smoker, 1 Whitebeard Mirror, and 1 Zoro. 6 Kinemon. It was boring as hell. I wish I hadn't done it. I went 7-2. Congrats. I was originally 29th, and then after the recalculation, I was 35th. Ah, that sucks so hard, dude. I'm really sorry about that. I got 66th. So I barely bubbled out of top 64. But top 64 wasn't all that impressive anyway, so I don't particularly care. Let's talk about Magellan, though. I don't even know what to say about this list. I'm going to test this list on stream sometime. That's a curse placement. It really is. I think a big thing about this, congrats to Tyler. He's onto something here. But a big thing about this is best of 1. A big thing about this is best of 1 webcam, right? Because you can catch so many people off guard that just don't know what to expect, don't know what they're doing, don't know how to play against this. And it's so early in the format that everyone is new with their decks. Everyone's new with their stuff. I don't expect this to be a recurring thing, personally. This deck is good when it curves. That's always been true. But he doesn't run the Jack. The bullet. See, this bullet should be Jack. And this deck is okay when it curves. This deck is good when it curves. Yeah, I'm cursed. I was 7-2 in Long Beach, and I also bubbled out top 32. That is cursed, bro. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. I really wish I had played Zoro. I was almost played Zoro, and then I played Stagebeard instead. I was on Zoro hype train, and I wouldn't have played Stagebeard had I known that it was going to be nothing but Kinemon for me all day. That was fucking awful. Full Jailer Beast deck. Yeah, a lot of Jailer Beasts in here. He needed to see the lucky curve all day. Face the right stuff all day. It was best of 1. People didn't know what they were playing against. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Well, think about it this way. Let's look at the stats. Let's look at the stats again. Where are they? Here they are. Here they are. Zoro was the most played deck in this, right? Zoro was the most played deck in this. I played 1 Zoro all day. He said he'd change 10 cards he built it the night before with 2 games played. That's wild. So this is just a really skilled player. This player just has raw skill and caught a bunch of people off guard. Just caught a bunch of people off guard. Let's see if we can guess the 10 guards. 3 bullet. I bet it's 3 bullet. I don't think it's Tesoro. Yeah, I mostly just outplay people, I'd imagine. And people, if you don't know, you don't know. I bet he cut Bagua. It could be cut 3 bullet, cut 3 Bagua, cut the 4 Magellan. That would make sense to me. Or maybe cut the King, but I'd cut the Magellan because Magellan's not very good. If you cut 3 bullet, 3 Bagua, 4 Magellan, you throw in 4 Jack. Now we're cooking, right? Now we're cooking. If you know, you know. No, it's not. Magellan is not 2 core to the deck. You don't need this card at all. I don't know. Like, I get it's a 5-drop 6k that makes your leader 6k, but I saw his last match versus Whitebeard. It was a no contest. It's your curve piece? Jack is your curve piece. Don't need that shit. Who cares? Guild Tesoro's your curve piece. Up Guild Tesoro. Cut these cards, right? 3, 3, 3. Throw in 4 Jack. Throw in 2 more Guild Tesoro. You're there. You're gold. You could also run the 6-drop Queen. Because you got the 5-drop Queen, too. Your curve is fine. You don't need it. You don't need it at all. You don't need this shit at all. Do some testing. Let's see the changes. We're not going to today, but this is a deck I will be playtesting with in the future. We're going to check this out. Whitebeard. This is Strawbeard. Let's see. More Robin than Vista. Recurring theme. Less 2K counters. That's a little... Oh, no. They're just up here. They're hiding. Now Magellan was broken for him? Interesting. Okay, I played against Magellan as Zoro. He was able to swarm the board with blockers and had 3 Hell's Judgment in hand. Wow. Crazy. So he swarmed with Mino Koala. He had the Uta, and he had the Queen. So he just big blockers, yup. And Magellan was broken for him. Okay, he does want Jack, though. He does want Jack. Do you have the updated list? He loved Jack. Won him a few games. Jack is amazing. Jack is awesome. Thank you, Russell, for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. How'd you place, Russell? Let me know how you placed. And you were playing Zoro? Zoro's pretty sweet. So he does want the Magellans. So if he wants to change, maybe it's the Kings? Because I bet it's 3-3. Maybe it's Shiki's. Maybe he just doesn't care about Shiki. Shiki's very mediocre, honestly. Like it's a 2-get counter, but maybe there are better ones for him. I don't know, though. Shiki's pretty gas. All right. Not much to report on this deck. It's your standard run-of-the-mill Strawbeard stuff. 3 ace. It's a little low on top end. It's a little low on top end, but just a little. This is normal Strawbeard stuff. Oh, congrats to Shang. Oh, Shang. He's a good player. I've seen him before. Zoro. This is the first Zoro. Wow. Zoro didn't make it until 7th. Say maybe Utagon? Although, I don't know, because Russell just said that he swarmed blockers. Uta seemed important. He played this versus this deck in the last match and was always ahead. Interesting. All right. Yeah, because, like, what are you doing to Whitebeard? They have so much pressure. Feels very matchup specific. I don't know. 4/9 drop Whitebeard. It's kind of heavy, but I support it. 3 of each Robin Vista. The one Jambe we were talking about earlier. Gordon Magra. Nothing special to report here. Normal Zoro stuff. Another Zoro. This guy's a legend. Look at Richard's beautiful deck. Richard, hats off to you. I love max rarity decks. I like your sleeves. Those are really nice. 4/9 drop Whitebeard. 4 Robin, 4 Vista. Yeah, this is one. 4 Magra is interesting. I like it, though. Normal Zoro stuff. Not much to report here. Congratulations, Richard, on 8th place. Let's head over to 9th. And here's another Zoro. Uta. Uta is interesting, Sergio. Once again, Whitebeard matchup seems fine since leader's always 6K, but it seems like he's very reliant on his blockers, and your bodies are huge. That's the thing. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, though. I don't know. I truly just have no idea. And your leader always being 6K, you need to worry about your board as well, right? Like, because it makes your Sadie harder to swing with. Your Sadie needs 3 Dawn all of a sudden. That's a lot. Your Jailer Beasts need 1 Dawn to do anything. That's a lot. There's not a ton to say here. I'd be interested to see. Uta and Radical Beam is interesting. That's about it, though. I'd be interested to hear how he did. No blocker bypass in this list. I really feel like blocker bypass is important with Whitebeard running around. Congrats to Sergio. Oh, yes. Here's the mono red Luffy that topped. I love how one of their links just brings you to fucking Builder, dude. Thanks, PPG. Love it. Let's take a look at this mono red Luffy list. Every Zoro player cut blocker bypass. I don't get it. I don't get it either. Maybe it's just because they didn't think Whitebeard. Well, but first place Justin got it. There's been a fair amount of it. There's also just been a fair amount of not it. Anyway, the Deuce is cool. I like Master Deuce a lot. It's decent into Zoro. It's really good into Law. Just a decent 2K counter for him. This is just tempo mono red Luffy. This is basically 4 Zoro, 4 Luffy, 4 Shanks. It's what we're used to seeing. This is what we're used to seeing. No, we're saying cut blocker bypass. Like cut Diablo Jambe, cut 5-drop Luffy. We blockers do die to green. That's why Zoros aren't running them. Yes, absolutely. Not usually anyway. This Luffy deck won a lot in the Japanese meta. Luffy actually had a very good showing in the Japanese meta. It was top 10 decks for sure. I don't necessarily want to say top 5. I don't want to say top 5, but it was top 10. It was up there. I still run 2 choppers. Still useful against non-red and green. Still useful against red. Still useful against... Well, they Vista it, but then they have to... I don't know. Fair enough. I'm not sure. See, the thing is, red and green is just the entire meta right now, though. I mean, not the entire, but most of the meta, so. There's not a ton to say here. I like this list a lot. If you've been considering Mono Red Luffy, this is a great place to get started jumping off. 4 Gordon, 4 Vista, 4 Robin. That's cool. It's very cool. The Dawn searches them, too. Okay. I wish I knew who this player was, but I'm not going to check. That's fine. Congrats on your top 16 with... Do you think Kid will return for the end of season like in the East? No. No, I don't. Because of Whitebeard. Because Kid returned midway through the season to deal with Zoro. And then when Whitebeard came, Kid kind of fell off. Because Whitebeard just dunks on Kid. It's too big. It puts out... Especially Stagebeard. But Strawbeard too, but especially Stagebeard just shits on Kid. And I think that Kid... I mean, it could be played, it could top, but I don't think it'll have a driving dominant force. That's what I'll say about it. Whitebeard, and we're talking Strawbeard. This is surprising only because he only runs 6 4-drop 6Ks instead of 8. I honestly think the list is perfect. This Luffy list is perfect. Run this Luffy list. I love this. There's not a single card. The only thing I might change about this list is I'd rather this 2K be searchable off Nami, personally. Because you have no Straw Hat 2Ks in here. So Mass Deuce, flex spot it. There you go. Jozu is a card that I'm surprised to not see in more Strawbeard lists as a backup rush option to close out games. Lies, I beat your... My film kid list is 40-0 on Sim. Good God, Skyrian. I don't know how much I care. I don't even know what to say to that one, dude. 40-0 on Sim, bro. I'm going to build some trash and take it 40-0 on Sim and be like, oh, look at my 40-0 list on Sim. I'm going to fucking G'day Maverick it, bro. That's what we're going to do. The Usopp Greatness in top. Usopp Greatness. Ah, Usopp. There he is. Yeah, he does run Usopp. That's a little surprising. Could be for the Whitebeard matchup. 2 Kingdu and 2 Luffy's a little surprising. Only 3 5-drop Luffy's a little surprising. Overall, this is pretty normal, though. It's just got interesting choices. Interesting card numbers. His numbers are all over the place. Yeah, they really are. Like 1 Luffy, 2 Usopp, the winner Luffy, too. Like it's the random-ass winner Luffy. See, that's the thing. I think this list is a great way to show that 40 on Sim, but useless in regional play. Oof. This guy builds like me. I like 2-ups. See, I think this is a great list to show that there's no one right answer for true optimization. Like when I was just talking about how you could change Mass Deuce, a lot of your 2K counters, a lot of your slight vanilla choices, it's all about how you're playing the deck. It's much more about how you're playing the deck than perfect deck optimization. And playing to your strength with a meta deck like this is really important. Russell Lepar, what's the name of the Magellan player? What's his Twitter? Let's see if I can't find it here. It might be... His name is Tyler. I think that's B-A-L-I-N. Tyler B-A-L-I-N. Tyler Bolin, something like that. Maybe it's B-O-L-L-I-N. Tyler Bolin. Got 2 spare slots in my kin list. Trying to decide if I should play Law or Hawkins at 2. You could do 1 and 1 personally. Some dude got top 5 of Magellan after 2 games on it. I can win with Kid. That's true. At Lambs of Toph. Bolin, LMAO. His Twitter is I am so fucking tired as fuck. I don't know. I am soft as fuck. Oh, I am soft as fuck. Well, I can make him hard. He makes me hard. Don't tell him I said that. It's embarrassing. All right, so we're done with the Strawbeard list, right? From Strawbeard to Strawbeard. Stagebeard, where are you? I want Stagebeard. No. All right. There's nothing to say. It's a normal fucking Strawbeard list. I've gone over like almost this exact list so many times today. We're just gonna move on. Okay, this is Zoro. Yup. 2 Radical Beam. That's interesting. We see it sometimes. That's about it. Do you think they are going to ban Stage in the beginning of OP03 for USA? I think they should. I think they should. Time to bring back Mono Blue Crouch to the meta? You could. People getting too comfy? Go for it. Mono Blue Croc is fucking rad. You can run Evenkov stuff. Run that Evenkov, Daddy. I keep winning locals with Croc, but I haven't had the chance to get into any solid events, and I know people aren't ready to face it from that. And Sim, yeah, I can't wait until May to put him back on people's radar. Nice, nice. You go, Gorinsky. You go. I want, Gorinsky, here's what I want, right? You are going to top an event in May with Mono Blue Croc. You're going to top 8, maybe top 16. You're going to get that Nats invite, right? And then you're going to come back and tell your Moonmen family about how fucking awesome that was for you. In Digimon, usually the ban list carried over. So, I mean, we definitely will get the ban list. At least let us get it for our nationals. We better get it for our Nats. We will have a terrible Nats. I have to imagine it'll come right out of set 3, honestly. Because they're banning set 2 cards, not set 3 cards. So we don't need time to play with them. And they're lame. And they're, Kabaji is boring. And Moby Dick is oppressive. And it needs to go down. After you go through the topping lists, of course. Test this for Montreal in a month deck review. I will pull it up on stream. Send it tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do some deck testing. Zoro on the come up in OPO3. Real talk though, hit Makino too. I honestly, can I be real with you guys? I just want him to ban the Zoro leader. I just don't want it anymore. I don't want to hit Makino. I want that deck just gone. Would you say Stagebeard if they limited Moby Dick to 1? Would I? Yeah, I would, because you can run 4 Ezo to search it out and 4 Whitebeard Pirates a searcher to search the Ezo to search out the stage. Then again, if you use the Whitebeard Pirates and bottom deck the stage, you just lose. That's kind of funny. You can win. Honestly, you can win with Stagebeard without the stage, though. Also, I don't like limiting to 1, because then you're playing against Stagebeard in a big event and they happen to see their 1 of. You lose because of that. That's fucking lame. I just bought Altart Zoro Leader, so they better not ban him. Alright, don't ban Zoro Leader, because I don't want Skirian to be sad. Ah, yes, the ice wall problem. Ice wall problem. That sounds like a reference that I'm not understanding. Graded 10, baby? Let's go. Ban Otama? No! No! Don't ban Otama. Ban Makino before you ban Otama. They put Ice Wall to 1 and it would win games in Digimon because they hit... Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I don't play Digimon anymore. I stopped. See, that's what I hate it when they switch to 1. And for that exact reason. That's why nobody likes Yu-Gi-Oh! They're like, hey, guys, we have this busted-ass fucking card. It's called Blackluster Soldier. And we're going to limit it to 1. And if you draw it, you win. There are a lot of formats of Yu-Gi-Oh! That were like that, right? It's fucking awful. Fucking awful when they do that. Why are there 4 Carrot in this Kinemon list? Yo, I played against a Kinemon player who thought in the regional, who thought you could grab Carrot off of Momo, and I had to be like, dude, that's not a Wano card. So PSA, Carrot's not a Wano card. Don't do it to people. Don't let it get done to you. And I'm wondering if this guy might have thought the same thing, but then was just so good it didn't matter. I could see that. Because Carrot is a dirt useless 2K counter for you. It does nothing. Maybe he just likes Carrot, too. That's also an option. Wanted to flex the Carrot. Hey, thank you for the follow, Clo5. 2 Yamato seems core now. Surprised to see how many players running 1. In Japan, the meta, early meta, ran a few. There you saw a few decks that ran Yamato, but they stopped. Otama will see plays from here to the ends, so yes, ban her. That's fine. She's a staple. That's completely fine. She's a fine staple to exist. She is meta defining. She is not meta breaking. I like that. I want set 1 to retain some staples. I like Otama. Like, I could say the same thing about Rush Zoro. Ban Rush Zoro. Set 1 staple. Till the end of time. Ban 5-drop Luffy. Like, I don't want to do that. We don't need to ban cards just because they're staples. I hate how this guy put 1 kid above his other 3 Odin, which makes it look like this is 4 kid, but it's actually 1 kid, 3 Odin. Guys, my locals saying they are getting less OPO3 than OPO2. I've heard nothing about OPO3 allocations. We've got a while, so let's hope. Onion, yeah, 25% cut across the US for printing. But it's too much in red? Too many staples in red? I don't think Otama's too much in red. Like, I don't see Otama as any more of a staple than fucking Ezo. Ezo's going to be run from set 1 until the end of time. Likely. Like, why would you ever not run Ezo, right? I do want 2 Yamato in here. I don't like 8-drop Kid and 7-drop Kid in here, but hey, if it works for him. I wish these laws were Hawkins, but the laws are very respectable. Paradise Waterfall works because you got both Law and Kid. Everything I could say about this list I've already said. Congrats to Malik for top 16 with Kinemon. I find red is overrepresented because aggro is just a popular playstyle. Everyone else plays green. I find red is overrepresented because red is OP in OPO2. That's what I feel. Because every mono red leader is gas. Luffy is gas, Zoro is gas, Whitebeard is gas. And that's why red is overrepresented, right? It's the only color where every leader in its color is gas. And then you've got red, green, law. Of its multicolor leaders, it's got the only gas multicolor leader. Like, if you were to compare that to any other color, purple, what the fuck's relevant in purple? You can play Kaido, sure. You can play Magellan. You can't play King. Blue, you can play Ivankov. Dofi Croc. Green, you're not playing Odin, you're playing Kinemon. You're not realistically playing Kid. It's just that red's lead, they give red the leaders of crack cocaine. In set 3, Ace is gas. They don't print bad red leaders. They just don't. Set 4, we're not getting any monocolor leaders. Set 5, I bet red's leader will be gas. I just bet it will be. I get center checkmate so easily. I like Rob Lucci. Like my god, red is busted. Red is really strong right now. Too strong next set too. Although with the Whitebeard ban, I'm hoping that we'll get in a more interesting meta coming forward with the Moby Dick ban. Yeah, leaders are trash in other colors. Yeah, that's not red's fault. Well, green leaders are good. Well, one of them. I mean, Kid's okay. Kinemon's great. Odin sucks, though. Like, they just give red such gas. 5-drop Ace in Vivi is gas. Ooh. Double attack rush. That is nifty. That's a nifty one. I like, so think combos I've been hearing with Vivi. I like 4-drop Boa. I like 7-drop Croc. I like 3-drop Robin. I like the 5-drop Ace. Like, just like in a vacuum, Kid is the best leader, followed by Zoro, maybe. I'd argue... Honestly, I might argue in a vacuum that Zoro is the best leader. That's... I think I'd... It's close, though. I wouldn't argue hard. It's just my thoughts. Just thinking out loud. Alright. One of Nekomamushi, because when Odin dies, you can rip this Neko from deck, and that's interesting. But almost never when Odin dies do you need to rip a blocker, so I don't like the one of Nekomamushi. Other than that, there's not much to say about this list. Congrats to Josh for top 15. This is completely normal. Nothing to say. All right. Eventually, it just became talking about the same cards over and over again. If red events from OPO3 are insane, I don't know if Bandai tested. Yeah, they're really strong. I was thinking Sushi VV Leader is going to be amazing in set 4. I also think VV Leader is going to be really good in set 4. We don't know yet. Going to be a slow deck? Yeah, probably. Because 2 Dawn is a really heavy commitment for an effect. It's just a lot, no matter how you slice it. I want cheap cards with when attacking effects. What do you think the other leaders are going to be for set 4? Because we're going to get a Doflamingo, right? Of course, of course. Mr. 2 is an option I've been hearing a lot. I'd be really into Mr. 2. Miss All Sunday is also one I've been hearing that I think would be really cool. Vivi can die before even start to play her game, to be honest. Yeah. Sabo. Sabo is a big one I've been hearing for Dressrosa. Sabo is a really likely choice. I also, though, wouldn't be surprised at Fujitora for a Navy leader. Mr. 2 blue leader that clones cards. That'd be cool. God Usopp. That would be a fun leader. God Usopp. The manga will be Robin Miss Sunday. I would fucking love a Miss All Sunday manga Robin. I really would. That'd be so rad. I think that we're gonna get a Fujitora leader and a manga Sabo is my theory, but people have been saying they don't want manga Sabo because we have a manga Ace, and I can get behind that. It might be time for manga Gear 4 Luffy, but they might be saving manga for Gear 5. We're probably getting Dofi. We're definitely going to get Dofi leader. So that only leaves 2 leaders. Yes, there are 2 leaders we don't. Karoo Red leader for Duck Tribal. Please. Please. Manga Corazon would be cool. I would also really like manga Senior Pink. I think a lot of people would be down for Manga Senior Pink. Or Manga Mr. 2. Law Leader is also one I've been hearing for set 4 that could be interesting. I'd like a mono blue or green Law. Well, that's can't come this set because this set we are only 6 multicolor leaders. I mean, I wouldn't mind a blue-green Law, but we can't get that this set either. Yeah, so we have confirmation that there are 6 leaders in the set, and that's all. We have confirmation that they're all multicolor, and that they're all color combinations that did not exist prior to the set. Sure, they will have Sabo leader? That's wild, yeah. PH only 2 spots are open for leaders. Yeah, because there's gonna be a Dofi. If there's not a Dofi, what the fuck, right? Like, of course there's gonna be a Dofi. I hate the new Croc leader, by the way. Hate him. I think he's fucking awful. Let's see if OnePieceCardGame.dev has the set 4 stuff on it yet. We can take a look at what they've got. Nope. Okay. We're going to the card leaks in Discord. Okay. Sabo and Fuji, maybe? Oh, Doug Green Purple is Smiley Smoke Guy. I don't think we're going to get Caesar Clown because he's not from Dressrosa or Alabasta. I think we're getting him in the future. Hello, it's me, Jackson. I heard you wanted to pick my brain. Are you serious? Really? I want to pick everyone's brain. How fucking awesome. All right, we're going to pause talking about... They missed the mark not building out Baroque Works better, hoping... Yeah, we could get good blue-purple. This Croc might get better with more Baroque Works stuff. Jackson. All right, Jackson, what deck were you? I've got fucking 32 decks open. I want to pick everyone's brain. I was the Law deck with the 3rd Serial Luffy. Oh, Jackson, let's go. Here we are. So, 3rd Serial Luffy. Let's talk to this dude. Let me ask you, Jackson. What deck did you play in deck limited battles? That's question number 1. What color were you? I imagine you have to have been either blue or purple. I'm hoping to hear you say blue. Congrats on beating Andrew D and getting 3rd Serial Luffy. Yeah, very heavy congrats. I played Blue Croc. Let's go, Blue Croc fam. What did you play at the Las Vegas Treasure Cup? Then Green Kid. Yup, nice. And then this. All right. What made you pick Law for this event? And Skyrian wants to know how you beat Zoro all day. He says it's a hard matchup. I actually don't feel it's that hard, honestly, Skyrian. My friend Thomas Wynn got 9th the day before. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I didn't want to play against like 5 Kinemirrors. I feel that. I feel that. So I asked him to give me the deck. Tell me about this one Gordon. Is that your tech? And I just rando submitted it. Is this one Gordon his tech or is that you? Tell me about it. Why'd you do it? I didn't really test it, but what was it going on in your brain when you picked it, when you added it in? I just expected to go against a bunch of Kine, and you wanted this to help deal with Okiku and such. Okiku is in Yamato's, because this plus Vista. I only drew it once in 9 rounds, though. Did you ever grab it off to Don? So I don't know if it helped. I mean, but you could have searched it off to Don. Did you ever see it off to Don and then go, I don't want this, and bottom deck it? Nah, never saw it off to Don. Wow, so yeah, you just never saw the card. Interesting. So, how many rounds did you have versus Zoro? Oh, he's bottomed it with Nami Urbani. I only had 2 against Zoro. Did you win those? What were your losses? You only lost once. Yeah, you won both Zoros. What was your one loss? Lost once to Kinney? Oh, you were 2nd place, right? So you're the first. You lost to the 1st place Kinney. Duh. Guy had Paradise Out of Life and double Gibson. Oof. That's really, really rough. 4-star law is wild. I'm here for it. 4-star law is actually not that wild. Starter law is the backbone of modern day law lists in set 2. I'm a big fan. You often see 2 to 4. I've seen 4 in other lists as well. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be testing with this Gordon tech. I really like it. What matchup did you draw Gordon against? You said you only drew it one game. I drew it in my loss, and it came up. What did you kill with it in your loss? It was a 2K beater that I shambles doubled Machino to make it 8K. Okay. But then, if it was just an 8K and then bottom to help kill an X-Drake on their field. Okay, so you did actually use the bottom effect. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Are you happy with the one of Gordon? Would you consider upping it to 2? Yeah, I like it, but I need more 2K counters. That makes sense. You are a little 2K counter shy. So I might cut out one of the green top end for... I think you could absolutely cut one of these laws for a Machino if you wanted to. Absolutely. Were you happy with X-Drake? X-Drake is big into Whitebeard and Kinne. Cool. Glad to hear it. Is there anything else, any other comments about the deck? Anything you did or didn't like with it? If I can't shambles, I can play it for 5 against Kinne if they rest their Kikuyama. Yeah, fair. I'm not the best player, so I definitely learned a lot playing in the tournament. You are the best player. You got second. You've gotten 3 serial Luffys. Don't sell yourself short there, bud. A lot of reps. Def takes a lot of reps because I didn't. Yeah, fair enough. Scared to bring Law to Montreal because I would feel Red would run me over. I'm probably going to start playing Raw, although I have no other regionals coming up, so I can play whatever the fuck I want. I noticed your name is Clyde TCG here, Jackson. Is that... Do you guys stream? Legit why I stopped playing Law and jams Smoker Sunday. No, not yet. You just make videos. Make videos on YouTube? If you make videos on YouTube, feel free to link your videos. I just dropped you a follow. Yeah, YouTube, but I haven't uploaded in a while. That's fine. Feel free to drop your YouTube link. Listen, you're always welcome in my stream. And if everyone check out this band's YouTube. I'm gonna fucking open it right now. Drop him a sub. And if I'll upload a profile for this, you should. You definitely should. If you ever need anything, Moonmen TCG's here for you, bro. You start streaming, you raid us, we raid you. It's all about co-promotion for us. And you're definitely someone I want my quarter. Thanks for the content. You guys were one of the first One Piece content creators I saw. I appreciate that, dude. We were one of the first One Piece content creators. We're trying to get back into the swing of things. We stream like 3 to 5 times a week. We need to make more YouTube videos. I remember the Odin list way back then before the English release. I miss that. Oh, the good old days. The good old days of Odin. Fun news for Moonmen TCG. We just got a new video editor. So hopefully we'll be cranking out some more YouTube videos soon. But you can always catch us on the stream. That is going to wrap us up for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing deck testing. I'm going to be testing out that Magellan list, and I'm going to be doing viewer-submitted decks. So come check it out. Do some testing with me for regionals on YouTube. I can do testing with you. Skirian, I'll see you tomorrow. Beyond tomorrow, and I'll play you. That's fine. I will see you all tomorrow.